Hello, this is Tom Still from the Wisconsin Technology Council. Thank you for joining us for today's edition of WisBusiness.com, the show. The show is produced by the Tech Council in partnership with WisBusiness.com and with the help of our sponsors, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corp and Exact Sciences. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Still from the Wisconsin Technology Council with the latest edition of WisBusiness.com, the show. Well, just today in Madison, we held a luncheon in which we examined all the different options around energy solutions in Wisconsin. Our panelists were Rob Hughes, Head of External Affairs for Rialto Fusion, Melissa Johnson, Executive Director of Wisconsin's Green Fire, Kevin Nort, Executive VP and Chief Strategy Officer for Dairyland Power Cooperative, and Todd Stewart, Executive Director for the Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group. This panel discussed all kinds of different possible sources, from natural gas-fired power plants to solar and wind to nuclear fission and even nuclear fusion. So we're really pleased to take that on today. Also recently, in fact, on Monday the 19th, we brought a bunch of members of Wisconsin's legislature, both Democrats and Republicans, to Shine Technologies facility to Janesville to learn more about fusion and its applications in healthcare as well as energy. It was really enlightening. May 8th, we discussed American manufacturing. Can it rise again? 3 panelists were on hand to talk about the rebirth of U.S. manufacturing and whether it's fact or fancy. Those panelists were Buckley Brinkman, who leads the Wisconsin Center for Manufacturing and Productivity, Andrew DeGuire, Dean of the College of Business Administration at Marquette, and Dale Kiwenga, President of the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. Coming up, June 4th and 5th in Madison, our annual Entrepreneurs Conference will take place in Monona Terrace. Kevin Conroy, who leads Exact Sciences, will speak, and so will author and markets expert Scott Becker. Will hold open mic pitches, and the Diligent Dozen in the Wisconsin Governor's Business Plan Contest will also present. So a lot going on in that conference. Our annual golf outing will be July 22nd at the Oaks in Cottage Grove. In September, we'll hold our Wisconsin Women Reception at Findor Construction in Madison. That's an annual event as well. November 4th, we'll host the Wisconsin Innovation Awards at the Monona Terrace in Madison. Think about your nominations in this, statewide and really any sector. We just want to be able to help honor innovators of all types. And that's followed November 5th and 6th by the Early Stage Symposium at the Monona Terrace in Madison. And getting back to the business plan contest, the initial field of more than 150 entries hit that January 31st deadline. Our judges have narrowed that field to 13 finalists, so it's I guess it's really the Diligent Dozen plus one due to a tie. Thanks to our 70-plus judges who have been with us throughout this process this year, and thanks to our great sponsors, including the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. We have already gathered more in prizes, a total of $175,000 in services and cash available for this year than over last year. So we're really pleased about that. I write a weekly column on news and developments that often touch on the tech-based economy in Wisconsin. It appears in newspapers and on other online platforms in Wisconsin and beyond. Recently, I've written about tariffs, foreign direct investment, value of federal research to the Wisconsin economy, and energy. So if you want to see what topics have made the Inside Wisconsin list so far this year and in past years, please visit our website for more. Up next, Kevin Boggs, Medical College of Wisconsin. Hello again, this is Tom Still from the Wisconsin Technology Council, back with our guest on today's edition of WisBusiness.com, the show, Kevin Boggs. Kevin's with the Medical College of Wisconsin, and he really leads a lot of the tech transfer activities at the medical college. And we'll get into what that means and how he defines it. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Good to be here, Tom. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, great to see you. Kevin's also a member of our board of directors for the Tech Council. Well, let's start with a little bit about MCW, Medical College of Wisconsin. Just, some basics about kind of the products. I mean, certainly technology and the research that you do is a big part of it, but you also produce something called doctors, physicians, and other folks in that world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We're a private medical and research institution here in the Southeast Wisconsin area. We produce, I think, more of the practicing MDs in the state. More than 50%, as I understand it, of practicing MDs in Wisconsin are graduates of at least one of our programs here at MCW. Our research also, in the course of our research, we train many PhD students and postdoctoral fellows that then go on to lead, careers in either basic science or in industry, helping to develop new products, at companies, in device companies or in pharmaceutical companies, diagnostic companies, et cetera. We have a PharmD program, so we have a pharmacy school that also produces
Yeah.
pharmacists, highly qualified, highly trained pharmacists.
Excellent. So a broad footprint in medical science and crossing a lot of disciplines. That's great.
Right.
Well, describe for people who may not know the term exactly, may have heard it, but they don't know, specifically what it means. What is tech transfer? What are the elements of that? And maybe some metrics that you use to measure how well you're doing.
Sure. Well, it really started back in the early 1980s when, if you were around then, you may recall that there was a lot of concern about the competitive nature of the United States versus, at that time, Japan and their growing technological prowess. And leaders in Congress realized that there was an awful lot. We had world-class, and still do, world-class research from our research institutions,
Mhm.
but it wasn't being turned into products or services. It was being published, which advanced human knowledge. It was all a good thing. But there seemed to be a huge opportunity that was being missed, that those new inventions weren't being developed. There were almost no drugs from university labs that were on the market. So Congress passed a law that allowed universities to retain ownership of intellectual property developed by federal funding, but then also required that those institutions, spend the money to patent any inventions that could be patentable, and then to license those patents to companies, be they Abbott or Pfizer or startups, that would then turn that intellectual property into new products, in the case of the medical college, to improve healthcare outcomes. So my office is responsible for identifying advances in technology that could be drugs, that could be medical devices that will improve healthcare, improve the human condition. We will find companies that will have the capabilities to turn those products, turn those inventions, always very, very early stage, cutting edge inventions, into new products that are FDA approved and then can be used by doctors to improve their patients' health.
Excellent. So at its core, tech transfer is all about getting that great research out into the marketplace and helping people like you, me, and others in terms of their overall health.
Yes, sir. Perfectly said. Yes.
Excellent. And do you have any kind of metrics over time or any given year, number of patents, number of things that are transferred, those kinds of things that you could reference for folks?
At the medical college, we receive in the range of about 50 new exciting inventions every year. We patent probably about half of those. We receive 20, 30, US and other patents every year. We license between, usually around 10 or so of those every year to companies that are going to go out and develop them, either raise money if they're a startup or, devote some of their capital if they're an existing company to turn those into products. So it's those are the sorts of numbers that we're looking at.
Oh, that's excellent. It's a great intersection, it seems to me, with the medical college's mission around education, research, and then just getting things out to people. So that's superb. There's
Right.
one threat on the horizon that I know you've followed closely. The White House has suggested that there would be cuts in a certain type of grant or almost sub-grant that comes from the National Institutes for Health. It's called indirect costs. Have you been able to kind of calculate what that could mean and just what it might mean in dollars and also the output?
Right. The F&A rate, as it's called, the indirect rate on grants, is really absolutely critical to being able to perform the very expensive, almost esoteric cutting edge research that's required to understand the basics of cancer, Alzheimer's disease, that are so incredibly complex. It takes people with years of training. It takes incredibly expensive instruments
Mhm.
to perform this sorts of research. So, the grants that people write, the grant applications that professors write, in their budget, the direct budget is for, okay, I'll do this experiment in this way with this number of chemicals or whatever it is. The indirect has to pay for to keep the lights on or to pay for the microscope to be run or whatever it is. So it's critical, and it's not something that can be you can't perform research without those costs.
Yeah, it seems to me that people in Wisconsin and elsewhere should understand that that can directly, affect the kinds of things that are being produced and get out to help the health and welfare of people all over the country, not to mention the world. And in a way, those indirect costs can be described as infrastructure, right? I mean, everything from
Infrastructure.
construction to, like you said, keeping the lights on to buying necessary equipment. Yeah, that's important stuff.
Right. Exactly right.
Well, thank you, Kevin Boggs, Medical College of Wisconsin. He leads a lot of the tech transfer work that's going on within the medical college. And thanks for joining us today.
Good to talk to you, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks again to our sponsors, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation and Exact Sciences. We'll see you next time.